There we go. What up, gang? This is Coach Darius, and I want to welcome you all to the Just Can't Fail stream. I am your host, Coach Darius, and we have a brilliant, brilliant show for you all tonight. And I'm excited to have you all. And for our first show of the new year, 2021, let's get things off right. Let's be intentional in 2021 in the new year, so that way we don't have our own personal pandemic. Yes, I recognize we're still in the middle of one, but let's make sure we don't be caught by surprise this time. Okay, gang? So I am super excited what we have. So in the meantime, please let me have you all go to streamyard.com/Facebook. That way you can make sure when you replied or you comment that it comes up as your name, not just Facebook user. You're more than just a user here. We want to be able to shout you out and give you your proper shout out. All right. So please, let's make sure we head over to streamyard.com/Facebook and let's get that going. Man, I can't stress enough how excited I am for the guest that we have tonight. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to call this guy a good friend of mine. He brings the best out of everyone he's around, and I'm super excited to Ebony. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it, Ebony. I think you've been on like every week. I appreciate the love. All right, gang. So make sure you head over to streamyard.com/Facebook. And we're going to get things going off on the right foot. This 2021, the first live stream of the year. Right, gang? So let's get after it. Make sure you have your questions. All right? So, yes, please do comment if you're live or replay. State your name so we can shout you out. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And we are excited to have you all. Okay, there we go. Just wanted to make sure. All right, we are live. We are going. All right, gang. So as I said, today we have a very special guest tonight on the Just Can't Fail show, the live stream here. And again, we want to make sure that you head over. Colleen Liddick, thank you for tuning in. Please let us know where you're checking in from. Are you calling from Are you checking in from Lewisburg, PA? Yes. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for heading over to streamyard.com/Facebook. All right. And so, as I said, we got a heavy hitter tonight. We kicking things off on the right notes for the new year. All right, making sure that we've been intentional. Intentional is my word of the year. It's being intentional and purposeful with the things that I'm incorporating into my life, the things that I'm removing from my life to have the desired outcome that I'm chasing this year. All right, gang. And so, again, one last time, make sure you head over to streamyard.com/Facebook. Okay, make sure you let us know where you're tuning in from. That way we know who you are as well, so we can shout you out appropriately. Make sure you have your questions ready so we can have those things available for you all. All right. And so, as I said before, I'm really honored and privileged to call this guy not just a fellow fitpreneur, but also a very close friend of mine. I really want to this guy, Nisan Trotter, aka the fitness preacher. He is not only is he's a father, he's a husband, he's a business owner, he's an author, he is a keynote speaker, and so I am really honored, as I said, to be able to welcome him to our first stream of the new year. He's also a minister and worship leader at Revival Tabernacle in Watsontown, PA. And so let's bring to the stage here, our stream stage, Nisan Trotter. So huge round of applause for my man Nisan.
My guy.
Hey, what's happening with you, my man?
Oh man, if I was any better, I'd be twins, man. I'm just excited to share this space with you, bro.
Awesome. Listen, I'm excited to be here. Like I said, man, it's an honor and a privilege. Listen, I appreciate, keynote speaker, author, and so I really appreciate you creating the time to be here
Oh man.
to bless our listeners here.
Over all that, man, you better let the people know I'm your homie. I'm your boy.
Of course. I'm going way back, 2001. And I definitely want to make sure I share and we chop it up a little bit about that story and how Brittany, thank you for tuning in, Brittany. Let us know where you are tuning in from. So definitely want to chop it up, my man, and let everybody know how we came together. But I do want to go before we do that, man. Like, what is your origin story? Like, how did you get here from Silver Hills, Alabama, to Lewisburg, PA, and all of the accomplishments, man? Please tell your origin story here.
Well, how I made it from the south to the north, in Alabama, you weren't really doing anything football-wise unless you were recruited by Alabama Roll Tide or Auburn Tigers.
Yeah.
So when Bucknell came knocking and recruiting, people were referring to it as Bucknell. We didn't even know. I didn't even know. But thankfully, God blessed me with some wits and also some athletic ability, of course. And my coach at the time, not even my position coach, he was our lineman coach. Mm-hmm. He was big guy. He was like maybe 6'7", 325 pounds, just a big ball of mass. And he knew that I did well in school. It was coming to close to it being at an end, and I wasn't signing anywhere.
Yeah.
He sent my highlight tape off to some major Northeast schools that did well academically, specifically. Yeah. And again, never heard of Bucknell. Bucknell recruited me, and it was my first time ever actually taking the trip up north. Now, this is how bad it is from where I'm from. Like, we way down south, like about 20, 30 minutes from the water. And and so my uncles, my mom, I've never flown on a plane, and they were like, boy, once you get off that plane, you better be wrapped up, because if you breathe in that northern air, you can die. And I really took that to heart. I believe that. And so, lo and behold, once I didn't die, obviously, but once I stepped onto the campus at Bucknell, I could sense the prestige. I could sense that this was an awesome place that I wanted to be a part of for its academic prowess, but also because athletically, man, it was some athletes in the Patriot League. And I just started to become aware that, this is a great school to be a part of. And so from my collegiate experience of being a part of Bucknell, one thing led to another. Never did I imagine, D, though, in a million years that I'd be I'm an official resident of Lewisburg, PA.
Yes, you are, sir.
15 plus years, man. Like, I'm thorough now. I can walk outside without a jacket right now if I wanted to. You know what I'm saying? So I'm good.
The Northeast wind and air has trained you well, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome, man. So speaking of, obviously, a similar story as well. I don't know why I'm really blurry here. I don't know what happened all of a sudden, but it'll work its way out. We're gonna keep moving. So, but with that, similar story from the South coming up to the East Coast. And I don't know about you, Nee. I had a chip on my shoulder. From the South, you hear so much about the East Coast and up north and things like that. And so, I definitely had it on my mind when we touched down on the football field to show that we just ball differently.
No.
And that brings us to our first encounter. Coming in, so I was a quarterback, recruited as a quarterback, but we had 6 quarterbacks that signed that year. So I'm like, you know what? I want to play this year. And so I ended up changing my position to wide receiver. So that summer I trained as a receiver for the first time ever. And we get to freshman camp. So we there about maybe a week before like the upperclassmen and everything. And we look around, it's just you and I, the only two receivers. So we took 100% of the snaps and talk about fatigue like no other. But I remember I was like, okay, my fellow Southerner, he's a baller. He's a baller. So I was like, okay, we can rock. We can do some things together, man. So that was my first really getting to see the sort of the athletic prowess that was there. So it was great to kind of touch base on that end. And I think,
but you being real humble about it. So look, let me take it from here. So, I remember. I don't think I've ever shared this story with you. My recruiting coach at the time met with me and the late great Coach Gadd, and it was about me and maybe a couple of other coaches, and this was on the recruiting trip. Now, was it a recruiting tactic? I don't know. I really believed it at the time, but they were like, "Hey, like you're like the number 2 guy here, that we want. Like you're out of all the recruits we're bringing in." They didn't say number 1. I was so close to number 1. They said I'm number 2, and so obviously that piqued my interest. I'm like, well, who is number 1 then? Because I'm feeling like I because seriously, I thought I was just gonna come up here and crush, because again, if you're not playing for Alabama, which I thought that I was good enough to play for, what have you, I thought I was just gonna come up here and just go game buster, just straight out the gate, and I soon got wind that you were the number 1 recruit. And so I was like, ooh, I'm going to get him. Little did I know, maybe it was just positionally, we was only like number 1, number 2, because we took all the snaps, all the reps. And that's why I think my freshman year, I really did a disservice to my back because of all the reps that we did. But I would also say that, much like yourself, when I seen how you carried it, it was just a whole lot of respect. And I believe, iron sharpens iron. We got better together.
100%. So thank you for that, man. I appreciate that. I totally received that as well. So Neil, we want to move into our rapid fire here. Okay. Right. And I want these are things that I just want you to sort of share. I think these are some valuable nuggets. So those that's listening, I don't want you to miss it just because it's quote unquote rapid fire. But I know we're going to be delivering a lot of jewels tonight. And so, number 1, name the 3 things that are most important to you and why.
Faith, because without God, I'm absolutely nothing. I wholeheartedly believe that. Absolutely. Family, because they're my reason why. They give me that juice, that like get up and go. Like,
yes, sir.
When I'm feeling, I can go on and on. And then fitness. I believe health is life. I really do believe health is life, man. I wish I could say I coined those words, but Jeff Olson, who wrote The Slight Edge, said health is life, and I believe that.
Yeah, awesome, man. What is something you do daily to level up your mindset? I know it's something we discuss a lot when we do talk. It's something a lot of our mentors have been part of, and it's just something we've always lived. And so, like, what is something you do daily to level up your mindset, Trey?
This is rapid fire, so I'm anticipating that I must answer these questions as fast as possible. So I'm married to my morning routine. Like,
okay, yeah,
I can go into great detail, but I'm married to my morning routine. And what can you give that question to me one more time? What
is something that you do daily to level up on your mindset? I don't want you to, because we're going to talk a little bit about that morning rituals. Okay. So I don't want you to go into too much detail right now. Don't give it all away.
Okay. Yeah, my morning routine. every day, all day.
Awesome. Trot, what characteristics do you feel are most important for someone, no matter where they are in their journey of life? What are some things that you feel like 3 I don't want to give any numbers, but what do you feel are some pillars for someone to achieve success, whatever that may look like for them in their life?
Resiliency. Definitely resiliency. Never giving up. Just staying the course, playing the long game. Delayed gratification. Those are things that are huge in my life and that I pretty much abide by.
Yeah, delayed gratification. I love that. And I'm going to have to come back to that one since it's rapid fire, Lynn.
All right. I'm speaking about as fast as I can.
What is your favorite quote?
Oh man, I'm a quote guy. Just one?
Favorite quote. You gotta come
Okay.
off the top.
Just one, or just I can
Just one.
just one.
What?
Oh man.
Favorite is one, man.
They all my favorite. I like the words of Les Brown: when life knocks you down, try to land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up.
Oh, love it. Love it. Awesome. And what are some of your best daily rituals?
Water consumption, working out, worship, reading the word, prayer.
Yeah.
Try to eat at least 1 to 3 something green. I'll leave it at that. It's hard for me, man, because we grew up on fast food.
Listen, I try to tell. It's so different the way my wife and I, my family eat now, man. And this journey started like 13 years ago, right?
Right.
And I tell people it's not overnight, like it's just a constant grind at it. And until like you constantly, we're getting so good at trying to add those things to where those old things it doesn't become as much of an issue, So
no question. Yeah. It is a sign of disrespect. You hear me? If I go home, I don't care what my aunties are cooking, and they know how I try to be. I think they cook in the way they cook when I'm there, just to try to break me. So like these things absolutely, man, have come over time, no question, when it comes to eating better.
Yeah, but it's also good to indulge when it's that time too.
Oh yeah, so I don't have a problem with it.
There we go. I don't want to paint that perfect picture for anyone, because I do feel like people feel like trainers are always just super motivated to always work out and eat well and do those things, So
yeah, I know you from New Orleans, so I mean, listen, I know how y'all carry it, but you're a very disciplined dude too. But New Orleans, how can you?
Listen, the food is amazing, and it's. Listen, I'm so happy my wife is on this journey, and she's locked in because she's a great cook as well.
Yeah.
And so if she wasn't locked in, it'd be just that much more difficult. So 2 heads on one shoulder, my grandfather said, is always better than 1 head on one shoulder. So
I love
that. So Nee, let's jump in a little bit, and I want to give a quick. After college, we graduated 2005, moved back home. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it Morgan Stanley you worked for?
I did.
Okay.
I didn't want to mention that name because.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, my bad.
I just say, even in the book, I say Provident Financial Firm for confidentiality reasons. It's not the prettiest of stories with them. Shout out to Morgan Stanley.
Shout out to Morgan Stanley. Right? Listen, there was a lesson that grew. And by the way, shout out to the book as well, Born Gifted Gang. So you guys can, and I'll. So he shares his story in there. And it's a really great read. My only I guess qualm is that I should have read it much sooner. And it was released in November 2017. And so I actually just read the book last year. I've had it forever, multiple copies. And so listen, man, really great job there. And so graduated college, go to this predominant financial firm for a year. Things happen there, man. I wish you can tell your story, and if it can be like, if you can give us a spark note of about a minute here on what that was like, and then that transitioned you back to Bucknell and Lewisburg. If you can share that, that would be great.
Absolutely. Honestly, Morgan Stanley was my get-rich-quick scheme. Coming from where I come from, my family of 4 grew up in a single bedroom at my grandmother's house, and there's no way with the amount of money toward a Bucknell education, they was going to accept me not making paper. I just jumped in, even though it wasn't necessarily a good fit, even though it wasn't necessarily my call. I just seen financial advisors with shiny cufflinks and nice cars, and was just like, I think this is where I can make it. And little did I know just the nature of the game, especially in the Bible Belt, in Pensacola, Florida, where it's predominantly either black or white, as a minority trying to deal with people with high net worth to handle their investable assets. I learned for myself very quickly that no one really ever had engagement in encounters with someone like me asking, hey, even though I have a great education, I can manage your money. It's a lot of old money in Pensacola, Florida, too. And it was just a tough sale. And so I just wasn't meeting quota at all.
Yeah.
So the branch manager called me into his office. I had my brown paper bag lunch. My assistant was right to the right of me. And in these few words, he said, Nisan, you're fired. I mean, just like that, this is your last day. And I was like, cool, I'm going to just finish up the day. And they're like, no, we got to escort you off the premise immediately. And then I left literally out the back door. I couldn't take any of my key contacts with me. Yeah. And everybody in the bullpen knew what was going on because they would see this happen pretty routinely. And I was like shell shocked until I closed. Once I heard that door closed behind me, like, take the shackles off my feet so I can dance. I was actually excited. I was thrilled. I'm like, deuces, I'm good. So to try to keep it, I know I'm over my minute time frame.
Oh, good.
But what I would tell you is that from there, I went from actually a white collar job with, the fancy title, credentials, what have you, to slamming a post hole digger in the ground, digging holes for my uncle as a blue collar worker building fences. And it was very, very humbling. And I appreciate it because Uncle Clifford, shout out to Uncle Clifford, he held me down. He held me down. And then I put in it was transitional, D. I put in a resume cover letter into Bucknell because there were transferable skills going from a financial advisor to being a fundraiser. And that landed me back up north to work for my school.
Got it. Awesome. And you were there for 5 years?
5 years as a fundraiser.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time because we connected in Manhattan, Lower Manhattan. And we had a meeting, one of the fundraiser meetings. And I think you were a little bit shocked because I didn't have on, because at the time I was I had just left the New York Stock Exchange to pursue JCL full time. So it's very interesting how our stories are very parallel, very, very similar. And so, Nee, with that being said, man, like, when did you know that you wanted to, transition fast forward? Like, when did you know you wanted to be a trainer?
I actually didn't know that. I really didn't. I was just kind of in my flow. And anybody who knows me know that I can kind of be in my own world sometimes with things. And Jarellis is kind of noticing that, like, you're kind of doing the same things, like, almost every day. And you're going to the gym, etc. And unbeknownst to me, she sat about $500 worth of personal training material on my lap and was just like, you need to become a personal trainer, because I would always go to the gym. But I was a little bit disgruntled with the experience because it was just a classic kind of meathead experience where you throw in the earbuds and you just lifting the heavy weights. It's no like experience. It's not like what you and me were used to, right? Where we would had one common goal of winning the championship. We had our strength and conditioning coach as our fitness authority, and we would just also enjoy that moment, enjoy that experience. I think I might have got you on bench press, by the way. I think
we'll talk about that all, but you didn't. You didn't. we can talk about that all, but no, you didn't.
Okay. My memory might fail me, but it was one of those things where. But she also noticed a little bit of jealousy too, because she was big into Zumba at the time. She was known as the Zumba queen of our area, had this crazy following. Sometimes 50 plus to 65 people would just be jam-packed into her sessions. So I come home lethargic from my experience. She come home all energized. I think she recognized that and was just like, yo, you need to become a personal trainer. And nobody really knew who I was. And I don't really share this story often, this part, but she had a nice sizable list. so I took her email list. I'm like, hey, I think I can do something with this. And I took her email list and really there's a whole lot of other stuff in between, but it kind of went from there.
I got you. Awesome. This is my first time hearing that. So that's shout out to Jarellis. I know she on here somewhere. Awesome, man. And so, do you remember your first paying client, Nee? Your first paying
Oh,
client?
I remember it like it was yesterday. What?
Okay.
I could not believe. Let me tell you something. Was she still with us today? Going on 10 years, bro. She is still
Beautiful.
a client of ours.
Beautiful.
We just have a lot of loyal clients. Like
Yeah.
on the real, they're not going anywhere. I don't care. It could be COVID. It could be, the apocalypse. They're not going anywhere. If we open our doors, they're going to be there. She that
That's
type of
awesome.
client. The kind of like the segue though into her really giving us our first check was I wanted to kind of do it the legit way. In my mind, I was manufacturing this, that I had to work for a box gym as a personal trainer, get personal training clients there to build my name.
Yeah.
Thankfully, thank God for closed doors. I had the shiny resume. I mean, all the bells and whistles to it. Turned in that to the local gym, and they never called me back.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful they didn't call me back
Yes,
because that led to me bulldozing down our own enterprise as Trot Fitness. And we started very, very simple means, humble beginnings, nothing fancy in the public park. Where clients were getting bit by mosquitoes, slipping on wet grass. I mean, they had to cart their dumbbells. The spouses, husbands used to be mad because they would tell me I'm washing my exercise mat in our washer and dryer because it stinks so bad. Stuff like that. I still remember glaringly to this day, D.
Yes.
And so to answer your question, of course I remember our first client because I am more charismatic. I'm an idealist. I have these grand ideas. I'm like, oh, we can do this, we can do that.
Yeah.
But in terms of the execution, sometimes those details, thank God for Jarrell's, because I can attract clients. I don't think I'm the best at keeping them though. And so I used to, I'm not kidding you. I used to have like a baseball cap, like in the public park, and be like, bring your dues here for your session. We would have people come to the park, do the workout, not pay and leave. And I'd be like, yo, hey, you owe me something. And so this client, I'll shout her out, Lisa Cause. I mean, in the gazebo, like she handed me for a month membership $160 check, and I looked at that check like it was beaming. Like you know how in the movies it glow. I was like, people will really pay me for this. Yeah. And from that, man, we never looked back.
Awesome, man. And I want to touch on. You're thankful for closed doors, man. And like the concept of this is being able to look at failures as lessons, right? And so many times we kind of have this black and white mentality around quote unquote failures. Is either like I fail or I pass sort of thing. And the truth of the matter is that if you would have had that mindset, you probably would have stopped a long time ago and not being able to be at this level now, man, where you guys have. I've had the privilege of coaching your sessions for your anniversary workouts and just seeing a couple times the tribe is on fire for Trot Fitness, and like I don't want to. You guys do a fantastic job of giving that experience and showing that love to your members. So kudos to each and every one of you there. And so Trot, like, what made you have the audacity? Like, why do you feel like you could do this and leave, this fitness industry better than what you found it, when you transition from corporate to trainer as coach? Like, what was that about?
Like, I feel like a big part of it was divine, bro. Like, really was. And I'm not trying to be spooky. I don't even carry it like that. But right. I'm sitting at my desk typing at my computer at Bucknell University as a fundraiser. And and this is when we were about part-time. I would just train people early in the morning and then go to my 9-to-5 job. And I was low-key probably daydreaming, thinking about a workout. By the way, if any clients are watching, that's how we as coaches get you. In our daydreams, we manufacture our workouts and be like, ooh, this would be good. I probably was doing like one of them. You know what I mean? And like I felt this impression on my heart, almost as if I heard an audible voice whisper, why are you still here? And indeed, when I tell you it scared me, like it really shocked me. Like I went down 3 flights of stairs. I scampered into the bathroom. I doused my face with water. I started pacing back and forth. I was a wreck if anybody seen me. And then I went back up 3 flights of stairs. I called my wife on the phone. Now, mind you, at this time, there will be moments where we had sessions in the park. And I can remember bicycling down Market Street and bicycling right back home because nobody was there. And it was so embarrassing with Jarrell. She'd be like cooking dinner. Like I can laugh about it now, thankfully, but she'd be kind of cooking dinner in the you know, like she believed in me. I'm not gonna get emotional. I'm trying not to right now, but like I'm walking into the kitchen. I can see one specific moment where she's preparing dinner and asked if anybody came, and I'm like, nah, babe, nobody showed up today. It was a number of those moments, and even still. To fast forward to when I really felt like, why are you still here? You need to jump into this full time and grow your wings on the way down if you have to. Jarrell's was just like, go for it. I got you, babe. I believe in this. And that was all I needed. And I was on fire from there. It was sink or swim, bro.
Absolutely.
I'm way up here, man. My family, like 1,000 miles away, it was sink or swim.
Yeah, I hear that, man. And that blossomed into Trot Fitness, what it is today, man. You guys have, listen, and like, you guys are doing some awesome things in a very small population. So those that may not know Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, when we were there, it has definitely grown a bit. You know, shout out to the success and the athletic programs of Bucknell. But the only thing that was there was a Walmart and Lewisburg Federal Penitentiary. Like that was it. Like that was it, right? So, and you can share. I mean, what is the population in Lewisburg? Is it 10,000?
Not even. It's 5,500 according to consensus. Yeah.
So very small. And so, I mean, shout out to you. And that blossomed. And like I said, you guys are doing some amazing things. And so, if you can tell a little bit about what you guys do, what you offer out in Lewisburg, PA. That'd be great, Charlie.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We really specialize in metabolic fitness training for all fitness levels, and we can get the job done, especially in terms of our training sessions within as little as 30 to 45 minutes. So people can have a fantastic time, get on with their day, and feel like they still accomplished something towards their goals. And then we couple that with helping them not just with the fitness piece, but also nutrition, and then accountability too. So it's pretty much a one-stop shop. It's full scale in nature, man. It's taken a long time to build it out like that. But from the fitness, nutrition, and accountability, we try to dive deeply into those 3 areas.
Absolutely, man. And you know, and that is the most critical piece right there, right? You know, the workouts come a dime a dozen. They're free everywhere, you know, and so. Nutrition as well. You can find all kind of information. So that accountability is definitely the key to bridging that gap between where someone is and where they ultimately want to be. And so, what were some of your challenges that you all face? Like, you know, that you face going from corporate to trainers, you know, solopreneur. I don't want to say solo because you've always been, you and Jarrell have always been. But what were some of the challenges that you all face? You know, you spoke about going, and I've been there as well. Riding the bike to the spot, no one shows up. Like after that, you know, the morning grind before work, the afternoon, the evening grind after work, and no one shows up. But what were some of the challenges that you all face, that you face in that transition?
Initially, the challenge was, how do I fill up an 8-hour day?
Yeah,
You know, just on a real simplistic level, it was, all right, once my session is done, what do I do now? Because I had to shift from just the trainer perspective and being a fitness trainer to really being an entrepreneur that is going from amateur to pro, because I also am only working in the business, but I'm working on the business. So we had to sharpen our marketing skills. We had to also legitimize how we showcased our results, how we shared our program, and also making sure that we were a results-oriented place so that when people came to Trot Fitness, they knew that they could earn great results, have a fun experience, but then we would also be able to be good enough, they're willing to refer their friends and tell their
Yeah.
family about who it is that we are. So working on all those things and being able to do it in a tactical, strategic manner is what was big for us.
Awesome, man. And listen, I mean, with man, the productivity, like you are one of the most productive people I know. 3 kids, you wear a lot of many hats, speaking, worship at your church. There's a lot that's going on. So if you can share some things, we spoke a little bit about your morning ritual. If you can share a little bit about your morning routines as well as your evening routines, and putting it into a tactical sort of, maybe even bullets, so folks that are listening, tuning in, can take something away from it. What does your morning routine look like, me?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I feel that it's almost like I can be a technician in this regard, and I'm gonna try to do that without being too in the weeds with it. But I will tell you that it's not perfect, and it can vary from one person to the next. So I don't want anybody listening to feel like they have to carry this pressure, this weight to try to do it in this way. Find something that works for you and try to make a routine out of it. For me, I've also learned this before I share that it's taken time to get to this place to where now it really does. And this is, I will say, even this later part to this year. Now, mind you, I've had this morning routine. D, I'm not kidding you. I really do not remember when now I have not done this or something very similar to it. But it's interesting now. I feel for probably maybe the first time, like I look for it more. Like I have to do it. I thrive in it. Like I'm embellishing it. It's crazy. But anyway, I just feel that for me, number one is I never hit the snooze button. I already know when I'm gonna wake up, and most of the time I'm beating that time up. If that makes sense.
And what time is that? Is that the same time every day?
Pretty much. I give myself a range because I give myself grace. But I generally wake up in between the hours of 5 to 6:30. So that range right up in there. Like I give myself a solid range. And then even when I am up and I know like it's a little bit too early, my mind starts to work on envisioning what I have to do. Like I'm in bed and I'm almost, it's almost like a kid, like when you got Christmas coming and
oh yeah.
Boy, you're not gonna get up for Christmas until this time, and you like squinting your eyes and you kind of looking at the clock. I do that all the time to this day with my morning routine. Like I'm not kidding you. That's how I feel about the mornings. I want to beat the household up, and I want to have my time. It's just that sacred to me, and so I never hit the snooze button. 5 to 6:30, boom, I'm waking up, and automatically, like I have my nightstand set up to where I can just reach over, just straight over. I make it as easy as possible. Yeah. And I grab my water. I take a big gulp of water. Maybe it's 3 gulps. It's generally 1 to 3 gulps. Again, I can be like real, like, but and then from there, I open up my smartphone and I go immediately to the verse of the day. Sorry. Before I do that. And even before I drink the water, I stretch my hands up to the sky and I say, God, thank you for waking me up to see a brand new day. Somebody didn't make it today, but I'm so glad I did. And I shake my head. I put my 2 hands on my thighs and I shake my head about 3 or 4 times. Then from there, I reach over and then I grab that, guzzle that water down. I go to the Bible app. I read the verse for the day. And then I immediately go to the bathroom, start to brush my teeth and everything. And while that's happening, I'm listening. Either I'm watching something motivational, I'm reading the verse of the day, and then it kind of goes from there to having my sups in the morning. I immediately go to workout, and it's generally around that 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. time. If I haven't done those things, I'm starting to feel behind, and like I start to get nervous, like I got to catch up somewhere. Generally, I'm done with those type of routines by like 8 or 9 in the morning.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So just to recap, we waking up, never hitting the snooze.
Never. The snooze button is from the devil.
Yeah, there we go. Listen, whatever whatever it takes, man. I love it, love it, love it. So never hit the snooze. Then we're going to go to just giving thanks, giving
Giving thanks,
thanks.
gratitude. Yep.
Yes, sir. Then we're going to drink some water. We're going to read our scripture.
Mhm.
Work
Yep.
out.
Well, once we read the scripture, then I go straight to the bathroom, like no questions asked, freshen up, and then I'm still listening to
your
Bible or
motivational.
whatever
Yep.
motivational. Yep. And then I immediately go to get my supplements. Which by the way, I also have my shoes out. I generally try to put them out the night before, because it's a constant reminder. You got to get up and do this. Them shoes, I almost like, I'm weird in some ways, like wired this way, but I'll pull out my fitness shoes. You know what I mean? Yep. I just noticed that it's okay for me to be this way. It's just who I am, and just accept it. Don't feel bad about it. So I enjoy picking out like which shoe and sock combination I'm going to wear. And then I put that on the floor where I can see it. And then before night comes, I'm always like looking at it like that, like you got to do this tomorrow, right? Yeah. There's almost no questions asked. So once I get my steps in, I'm going downstairs and I'm working out. I have a routine to get me. And again, I'm not going to get all into that, but I'm working out, and then I'm hitting the day, man. It's a scripted day from there. I just follow my scripted day from there.
Awesome. And so speaking of that scripted day, are you scripting your day the evening prior to, or are you doing that? Is that part of the morning routine?
Thankfully, that's already done for the week.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because my only time is my morning time.
No, I got you.
So
everything else is already scripted for you.
Yeah. Like Jarellis has it on the script. You know what I mean? And or when we our admin staff, they have it, and I just follow the schedule from there.
Got it. Awesome, man. And so if for anyone that's listening that may be parents or they're caretakers, the one thing that I'm hearing is that you are creating your time, your magic time, to take care of you, because not only do you take care of your family, you also have to take care of your team, and then you have to take care of your members as well.
No question.
Right? And so like that's broad shoulders that's required. So you're doing your presses, you're doing all of those things. You're making sure that you are that you're in a fair enough state or a good enough optimum state to be able to handle those things.
Oh, no question.
With that being said, man, with those that may be on the line, and that's sometimes time can be an issue, or that may be the perceived issue that we're having. And this is for any of our listeners that's tuning in. Is there any helpful tools that you can give anyone? Because like me, yourself, you also fall to three. Yeah. And so what are some things or any tools you can share with our listeners here to help them kind of to not have time be an issue?
Absolutely. I mean, Napoleon Hill, who wrote the book Outwitting the Devil, talks about hypnotic rhythm. And I realized that that's kind of actually what my life is about. It's like a flow and a rhythm to it. And when it's like that now, really, it isn't necessarily as much about time, but how efficient you manage that time. I think it was Grant Cardone in his book, The 10X Rule, which profoundly stuck with me, is like the more efficient you can make things, you can then begin to create time for yourself. So I think some people don't realize, even myself perhaps included, how much time we may be wasting. Like, for instance, in your workday, if you can get phone calls done in 30 minutes of time versus the hours that you were spending doing it, then you just created 30 minutes for yourself right there. So I just think it's being very time sensitive, and I don't know, I'm pretty sure I might have shared this with you before. I'm still doing it even now. Like, we use Trello task management.
Yeah.
So I put my task in what's an app. I would encourage anybody to download this app called Trello, Trello. And Jarellis and I, we have we joke around. We're a little bit corny, but ours is called Triple W for. She gonna get mad at me for sharing this too, boy. It's like Wonder Woman and Wolverine, our favorite superheroes. So we want to attack Trello like that, and so we literally have our tasks lined up in there. And I want to always get done my 1 to 3 biggest tasks for that day. I generally never stretch it beyond 3. So even if I don't accomplish anything else, as long as I accomplish those 3, I'm good with it regardless of the time.
Awesome. Now, Nee, you're someone that has been following this routine for some time and like is ingrained. Like you've laid down the mile and it's second nature for you, to the point to where you're getting to a point to where you're craving it. You're looking forward to it, right?
Yeah.
So someone that may not be there, what can you share with that person that wants to get started on this hypnotic flow? Like where can they start?
Absolutely. I believe that it's all about momentum. The words of Annie Lennox said, you could be so good at creating momentum, you don't know whether you've created it or it's creating you. And so in order to create momentum, you got to start off with something really small and really easy.
Right.
Like, this is all I'm doing, and I'm winning. Like, I start my day off with small wins, and before I know it, I'm crushing bigger wins throughout the day. But I always start off with the stretch, boom. I mean, just real and I'm not kidding you. I've stacked up 4 or 5 wins in my day to where it's subconsciously telling me, yo, you rolling. And so I think for those just getting started, start with something small so that you know that you can affirm your greatness through an easy win.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I just was having a conversation with someone we was onboarded today, and I get this all the time. It's like 3 workouts. Oh, I can do more than that. Yes, we can. Let's get 3 down pat first, right? And like come hell high water, you're getting those 3 in no matter what, and then we can always escalate. It's easy to add on, right?
Exactly.
It's easy. So, but let's get the momentum going. So I really love that, Nee. And so I want to transition a bit, man, and speak about your book that you authored, Born Gifted, and this concept that you have. And so, man, like I said, huge congrats on that. That's a huge feat.
Yes.
And one of the things that, like I said before, this is about taking the lessons from failure, right? And seeding it, being able to grow from it, right? So looking at this as soil, not dirt. And a lot of times soil and dirt look the same until it starts to materialize, right? So dirt is going to be dead. Soil, things can grow from it. And so that's the idea with failure, and just can't fail. And so you started so I know you know it's a little bit of something. You started the first chapter of your book is called The 3 F's, right? Fear, failure, and future. Okay, so if you can explain this to our listeners and like what that means and how they can pull some things from it to be able to build from it.
Sure, absolutely. The 3 F's is really a derivative of something that happened in the 7th grade with me that I can sometimes, I was thinking about a little bit today, and I'm like, man, I can still get teary-eyed off of something that happened in the 7th grade. This is middle school.
Yeah.
But I made a decision to quit my football team, and that was like, for me, that was a mistake, or it was a failure on my part, because I had that juice, you know what I mean? Like I was people was just like, well, you of all people, why you quitting? Like I was one of the best in my high school and in our area, in our region, etc. They could not fathom why in the world would you of all people quit. And I felt like we probably could have won a championship, whatever, my middle school year. And what I then realized is I felt like a failure because of fear. I did not want to get hit. I wanted to be a pretty boy on the field. Like that was me. You know what I'm saying? I had basketball. I had hoop dreams. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I didn't never even see myself as a football player like that, let alone somebody who wanted to recruit me and sign me to a scholarship, because I had hoop dreams. And so I was kind of focusing on that. And I felt like in middle school, I should have focused on that. And then reflecting back on it, I realized that was kind of like a failure. Like I gave up on myself. I let fear take control, and I also left people out in the cold. And so that impacted my future, or it could have. And thankfully, Andrew Prill, shout out to one of my best boys in Alabama. He about as nice as you. I ain't gonna say quite as I mean, but I don't know, both of y'all. I mean, he's nice.
Thank you,
and so he just said, "Yo, Nisan, you should try out for the high school football team. Like, this is crazy." And so he brought me to their practice, and I'm sitting on the side. I'm just watching what they're doing, and I'm like, man, I know I can do what they can do, and probably better. And so I jumped back into it, and then I'm signing. I forget how much our scholarship was at Bucknell, but it's a lot of money. Like, my mom was like, "You going to Bucknell?"
At that time, it was like $45,000 a year.
Yeah, it was like crazy.
Yeah.
When I see that money on paper, the most I've ever seen on paper, like, it was a done deal. I was being recruited for football, basketball a little bit too, but the numbers talk, and it was just like, it almost jacked me up, like being afraid, almost stopped me. And this is what I also realized too. Once I got back out there in high school, and then like I was cooking them, dude. Oh, it was easy, bro. I'm chasing a humble brag. I promise it is, but it was easy a lot of time. And then I just realized, like, even when I'm scared, I can run in the face of fear, even like a scaredy cat, and I can still be successful even when I'm afraid, as long as I keep moving. Because someone had told me it's the people that stand, and you know this as a football player, it's the people who stand around the pile, who don't move their feet, who actually end up getting hurt the worst. And so, facts, man, that's what happened for me, and it impacted my future. Now I'm here.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah. And speaking of failure, Need, like, what does it mean to you? Like, what is a definition, and how do you even process it? Like, what is that thought process? And again, if you can put it in sound bites, so it can. I want someone that's watching this that may have never even played a sport, or maybe even like on the fence of becoming, fit and making this change. Like, how can that person take this and apply? So what is failure to you, and like, how do you process it?
Yeah, well, I process it through my emotions. I let my emotions feel what they should feel. So I'm not gonna lie to you, failure hurts.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best feeling for me, and I'm gonna give you sound bites, but it wasn't the best feeling for me to have that door close as a financial advisor and realize, man, I don't have any inflow of cash right now. So it hurt, but it also created growth, and failure is a learning opportunity. It's not death. Zig Ziglar said failure isn't a person, it's an event. You know what I mean? So I think that those are the best ways we can approach failure. And when you look at it from those lenses, Thomas Edison, you can fail 10,000 times, and still, like, that not necessarily be failure, but actually be success. He said, I haven't failed. I just found 10,000 ways that didn't work.
Yeah. 100%, man. 100%. Love that. And so with that being said, like, how can someone reframe it similarly to how Einstein did? It wasn't 10,000 failures. It was he just found ways that didn't work. So he essentially got a lot of feedback and put those things together to create some of the greatest inventions, right? And so, like, how can someone reframe failure to use it to serve them, to get them to keep pushing forward, in spite of that fear, in spite of, like you shared with your football story?
The reframing part of it for me is actually the journey and falling in love with that, and the opportunity to never give up, the opportunity to always keep trying. If the game is called infinity, you will win if you just never give in. Because infinity lasts like forever. Like, you'll win. That's how I look at it. And so I just never seen there's just certain things that I've never seen myself stopping in. Like, I'm never gonna stop loving Jarrell's. It will always expand. You know what I mean? And sometimes, in regard to health and fitness, how I try to coach people, even though it's not sexy, it's not fancy, it's not pretty. There are some people who it bothers me, D, and I have to almost bite my tongue, even in coaching some people, because they're like, man, I did this program for 8 weeks, and I only dropped 15 pounds.
The best one is now we're about to vent a little bit as coaches. I only dropped. I expected to lose more when we came here because we wasn't going in the right direction.
Right.
So the reframe is super important. That's a whole nother.
I see you almost going there, but I just try to honestly, D. I just try to bring it back to say it's almost disrespectful in some regard to someone perhaps like me who, like, I've been doing this since high school, bro, and that's a long time ago now.
Yeah, 100%. So plan for forever is a long time. It's a long time, right? And it's hard. It's really hard to get people to understand that. And I'm very thankful. I call them our green bloods at JCF. Like, they are tremendous with like engulfing themselves in the process. Like just being about the process, and like it's creating almost the level where you're saying that they don't get their workout. It becomes like they start itching weird and feeling a little, so like really excited about that, and like that's big, but it's really hard to push that on someone. People coming in, it's New Year's resolutions. You notice we haven't talked about them because I really don't care for them. Is about really creating that lasting change. But what are some ways that you guys have been able to, you speak about, I forget your first client, but been with you all 10 years. You guys have many 5+ and 6+ and 3+ years. Like, what are some things that you share with your members on like playing the infinity game and like getting them to shift from, I'm like, fitness is going to help me do this versus like becoming a certain person that always maintain that. You understand what I'm saying? So what are some things that you're sharing in your coaching with your members that we can give the people that may be viewing this?
Yeah, so for like a JCF Greenblood particularly, I use content from our most successful clients. I use what they do because I have a level of admiration, especially because it's no joke. It's not easy what they endure to be clients here. And so one of the things is what you mentioned earlier. We're not trying to knock it out the park. Like, slow down, ma. Like, what we're looking for is give me about 3 times per week to begin.
Yes.
And we have this phrase, chopping wood. Because I'm from the South, my granddad's farmer, and I can go to storytelling mode. I'm not, but if you just keep swinging that axe at the same spot in that tree, eventually that tree is gonna fall down. So we tell them 3 times per week. The next thing that I really try to coach them on is the fact that we want to be around 80% compliant with nutrition over time. If you're at a 20% right now, let's work to get to that 80% where. And I really break down numbers for them with what 80% compliancy looks like for them. We talk about that, and then we try to set them up for this is what the things that you should consistently be doing on some type of routine basis. You're posting on Facebook. You're involved with our community in Facebook. You're weighing in. Now that we're a hybrid company, you should be involved with our app and the things that we're doing online. And so and then eyeballing the goal, like still keeping your eye on the prize over time.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Love it. And so, Nee, you titled your book, your first book. I'm assuming you probably have another book in the works. I don't want to leak anything. I don't want to start any rumors. But with that being said, you titled your first book, again, Born Gifted, How to Unwrap the Gifts Inside You for Supernatural Success. What does that mean, Nee? What does it mean to be born gifted?
It means having awesomeness in you and being attracted to awesomeness. We all are attracted to awesomeness. And everyone has something in them. I don't care if it's the person who can just, you know how you can make the perfect peanut butter and jelly sandwich? I believe some people are like gifted. They have the right exact amount of spread on the peanut butter, the right exact amount of spread on, or there's some people who you'll never beat in rock, paper, scissors, whatever. Like there's something in you that hands down, you just do well almost without even thinking about it. And I try to really help people discover what that is, because a lot of people are agitated with life is because they're living a life unfit for them to live because they're not dwelling in their purpose.
Awesome.
Again.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so, Nee, like with the new year here, and I don't want to talk about resolutions per se, but like, what are some things, what advice can you give someone that's looking to make 2021, you know, the last year that we're trying to lose weight or trying to get in shape? And it really becomes a part of this person's sort of ethos. Like, what advice would you give to that person? And I want, you know, the person that may have in the past chased the sort of short-term sort of goals or outcomes, what would you tell that person?
Absolutely. And D, I don't know why this particular answer is coming to my mind right now. So slow me down. If you like me, this is too much, this is too heavy.
I don't know.
I sometimes have a different way of looking at things, and I often live the nightmare. I envision what it would feel like if I lived the nightmare. So this is what keeps me consistent with working out. This keeps me faithful to my wife. This keeps me from cheating on my taxes, because we have employees that depend on me to be doing right. And so I would encourage someone, you know, what does it really look like to be in that place that you fear the most? And if you live that, or you can manufacture, conjure up some type of feeling, that's been enough for me in many regards to do what I should be doing as opposed to what I shouldn't.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that. And Nisan, man, listen, I want to thank you.
Yeah, man.
Thank you. Man, like I said, it's been an honor and a pleasure to call you not only a fitpreneur, a fellow fitpreneur, but a friend, a very close friend of mine. And like, keep torching, man. You're doing awesome work. You're changing many, many lives on so many different levels, from your fitness sort of service, the books, the speaking, all of those things, man, as well as worshiping as well. So keep rocking, man. I'm always amazed at the amount of productivity how much you're squeezing into your days. And I think you really opened Pandora's box a little bit here on the level of this hypnotic flow that we're happening here. So, man, thank you so much. And Nee, before we go, where can folks find your book? Wanda, hello. Where can folks find your book?
Oh, wow, yeah. You can go to Amazon.com. I'll even read it for you on Audible. It's narrated by me. You can pick that up on Audible. BarnesandNobles.com. Born Gifted, yeah, man. You can even go to www.nisantrotter.com, and you can find the book there as well.
And let them know that's one S, only one S.
Yeah, one S, the story of my life. You nailed it.
And Nee, where can folks connect with you on the social medias and the interwebs?
Absolutely, at Nisan, Nisan RPM on the IG, and you can just, there's not too many Nissans in the world, especially with one S. So you can just search in the search bar on Facebook, Nisan Trotter, and you can find me on Facebook there.
Awesome, man. I want to thank you so much for creating the time and being here with us. We definitely got to do it again.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We'll definitely do it again.
This is fun.
Awesome, gang. Thank you all for tuning in. I truly appreciate it. And Nisan, I have an ask. This is on the cusp right here. Are you willing? Those that sign in and comment that they watch this, whether it's live or replay, we're gonna want to raffle off an autographed book. Can I get that from you?
No question. No question.
Awesome.
Absolutely, man. That's easy. Easy. I'm trying to think of how I can embellish that, man. So how about this? How about this?
All right.
Make sure that you remember this now.
Oh no, I got it.
Because remember, I have the ideas, but then how it's gonna follow through, I don't know. But I'll also send some Born Gifted bands to them as well. I'll send them a gold one and a white one. And what we do in the book, right? We said the book. And if there's any other giveaway I can think of, I will. But I'll definitely send some bands in the white and gold for them too.
Awesome. Any merch? You have any Born Gifted merch?
I do have a tee, but that'd be involving Jarellis, and I don't want to get in trouble right now. I'd like so
great discernment right there.
Yeah, I want to slow down. I got Born Gifted tees, but I want to slow down because that involves my.
All right. Perfect, man. So excellent. So we have so what we're going to do is anyone watches this, and we're going to give them until, let's say, Sunday evening. And when they comment, they're going to go into a raffle, and the winner will get Born Gifted bands and an autographed copy of Born Gifted by yours truly, Nisan Trotter. Man, thank you, my brother.
Oh man,
way back to them routes. 2001, man. I really appreciate it, Nee. Give the family my love, brother, and we will catch up.
Absolutely.
Guys, thank you.
Tell the boys hello too, and your lovely daughter as well. Love you, man.
We will. Love you, brother. All right, try it later. So, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. If you have any questions or concerns with your, I want to call them your New Year identity shifts. So it's something that lasts forever and something that we don't have to worry about going back. Please hit us up. You can reach us at schedule your strategy session, fitness and nutrition strategy session. It's a 20-minute call. See if we can dissect the challenges that you're having and put together a game plan that's going to be something custom and individualized for you. Okay, so again, that's going to be jcfxstream.as.me. And I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in, commenting. I'm going to go here, and whatever questions that you may have, please do leave it. I'll spend the next 3 or so minutes here. If no questions come in, I'll be heading out in about 2 or 3 minutes. If there's questions, I'll answer whatever you may have. So shout out to Ebony, Colleen, Brittany, Charles, Latoya. Man, we going way back, Latoya. Thank you for tuning in. We talking about way back to elementary. Yeah, elementary, middle school at least. Thank you for tuning in, Latoya. I hope you are well. Brittany, Colleen, Rob, thank you, my man. Great friend of mine. Amadou, thank you for tuning in. Dan the man, thank you so much for tuning in. Brother Ross, hello. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, love it. Tuning in on our YouTube channel. Love to see it. Wanda, how are you? Man, my man spoke about New York Stock Exchange. We're going way back. Wanda, I hope all is well with you and your family. Awesome. So, gang, if there's any questions, please leave them. If not, we're going to be heading off in about 90 seconds here. In the meantime, gang, I hope each of you have taken some time. If not, Coach Darius is going to give you until January 15th, the midway point of the month, to live intentionally, the life you want to have in 2021. Okay, take some time, put pen to pad, and it don't have to be outcome. Just write down what you're committing to this year, right? If that's 3 workouts per week, well, listen, let's get 3 per week, right? And let's do that there's going to be some things that come up, but the majority, 49 to 48 weeks of the year, maybe even 50 weeks of the year, you're hitting those 3 workouts every single week. Okay, month after month, week after week. So take some time to write down what you're committing to in 2021. So again, we don't have our personal pandemic that takes place. And so what I mean by that, just not being caught off guard, not being intentional with the sort of life we want to have. All right, gang. So that's all I have. There don't seem to be any questions coming in here. So, but with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. If you have any questions about putting together any sort of action plan to achieve those goals, you can go to JCF Extreme. That's STREAM.AS.me to jump on a 20-minute discovery call. I thank you all. I wish you all well. Be sure to tune in with us next Thursday at 8:30 p.m. All right, and we will be here. All right, gang. So have a wonderful evening. Until next time, peace.